Hello, APCSA students. Okay, so we're going to continue our method series. We did method input last time. This time we're going to talk about output from a method. So the same way you write a main, when you're writing your main lately on your programs, we're talking about variables, input, process, output, just for, focusing on the code for the main method. Well, similarly, methods can have input to them. They do some process, some task, and they can send values back. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we looked at ones that receive input, and now we want to talk about ones that actually send something back. So method output. Now, what you might remember from the input, and let me jump over to one of those programs we did for method input, this was the multiply program, was that we could have input to a method, 2 parameters, or I think it was this one, we could have 1 parameter, right? And the truth is, I could have another parameter here if I wanted. I could have another one. So there is a finite number of things, but it's actually pretty long. So the point is I can have multiple inputs to a method. And so of course I'd have to pass more numbers here to match up, right? So if I have 4 parameters, 4 arguments. Now, when I'm talking about output from a method though, I'm only allowed 1, period. I'm not later in the video going to tell you how you can return 2 or 3 things. No, you get one type of thing. So you have to decide, is this method going to return an int, a double, a string, whatever it is, one thing. Now the way you send things back from a method is a return statement. So again, I think it's best to look at examples. So this one. Nope. There we go. All right, so here you will notice that indeed this method square is going to receive a value, a double, and then it's going to square it. But instead of printing it this time, it's actually going to return the value. So it's going to return it back to where it was called. So we've actually been seeing doing this. And so I want to jump over for a minute and talk. Do I want to jump over yet? You know me, I'm so indecisive. Oh, we'll wait. So let's walk through here and see what's actually happening here. And what we want to delineate here is the difference between a method like this, where I return the value and then print it, versus a method where rather than returning the value, I simply print it. So here I am back in this one. I'm going to hit the debug. Here, now notice that inside the print line is this square 5. So square again is the call to this method name. You see they match, and it's passing a 5. So as I step into this, you see x gets a value 5. And now when I execute this statement, it's going to do 5 times 5, which is 25, but notice nothing printed yet. So it sent it back, and so right now this has a value of 25.0. Then it's going to get printed when I click the next. So again, I'm going to call square on this line, but this time I'm passing it a 2. So we will see that x gets the value 2.0 because it's a double. And then we do the multiplication, but nothing's printed yet. And then when I print, I get the 4.0. And then one more and I'm out of the method. So how does it know I'm returning? Well, you'll notice here that I no longer have void. I have double. So void means the method returns nothing. If the method's going to return something, I have to put the type of thing it's going to return right here instead of void. So again, a method can return one thing or nothing. So if it returns nothing, it has void. If it returns one thing, you have to put the type right here, right before the method name. So that's part of the syntax of the method header. So you'll see the type here. Here's my return expression, and what's important is that whatever I'm returning, it better match this type. So what I mean by that is this says it returns a double. If I were to make this into a string value by doing something like that, x squared equals plus, there's really nothing wrong with this statement. In fact, I can put this into a string variable, and then I could try to return the string variable, right? So this is concatenated a string value with the x times x, which will depend on what's passed to me when the method's called, and it stores it in a string. Now the real problem is that when I return the string, it's a string, and I said I was going to return a double. So I want to show you this. So in the compile, incompatible type, string cannot be converted to double. That's what it means. This string can't be converted to that. So either I go back to the solution I had before, or I decide, well, you know what, I really do want to return a string. Now, the type of thing I'm returning matches the type of thing that I told you I was going to return. And so everything compiled cleanly. Now if I run it, what I'll print now, though, is this whole string that I've passed back, right? Whereas before, we had the double, and I simply returned a double value and got a different result. So when you're building a method, you want to think, what's my input to my method? What's the method supposed to do? And what's the output from the method? Now, part of what I want to point out is that before, with our void methods, we were doing a lot of printing in the method. And it's not bad to do that. There's some times where, indeed, I want to print a square. But more often, what you'll see is something like this, where the method returns the square, and it's up to you to print it. Maybe you don't want to print it. Maybe you want to say double x equals square a 2 and then multiply it by 10. And then maybe I want to do something else with x plus plus, right? And then maybe I want to print it. Oh. So now I get a 41. So the point is that had I printed it here and I didn't want it, it limits on how much I can use this method. So more often we like to return the value, and then you decide if you want to print it, or maybe you want to do some math on it, or do something else with it, but you can print it as well. So this is where we hopefully want to get to, and what I want to remind you at this point, now that we've done input, and we've done output, and we've seen void, and we've seen multiple inputs, I want to remind you of the methods you've already been using. So here's a sample program. You'll see I have a scanner object. It prompts for a number. It reads the number in. It makes another variable that equals 10. I call a couple of math methods here, and then I print some value out. And so what I want to point out to you is that you have been calling methods and passing them things and receiving things back from them, getting output back from them, and doing stuff with it all along. You just haven't been writing your own. So now we're writing our own. So notice here, print line gets passed a string argument, right? And it displays it to the screen. It doesn't actually, this method call doesn't send me any value back. This is, print line is a void method, but it does something. It puts text to a screen, which is a big thing, right? It's very helpful for us to be able to test our program. When I invoke the scanner object to give me another integer, notice I am passing nothing. So it has no arguments, no parameters, but it sends me a value back, doesn't it? It reads from when I run the program, it reads from the user the value, and it sends it back to us so that we can store that in a variable or do something else with it. So this would be 0 arguments because nothing in parameters, but it does return an integer, whereas this one was a void, didn't send me anything back. Here I have an example where I have 1 argument I'm passing, and also this method sends me the square root of that value back. So it sends me something back. So this has 1 input parameter and it sends me some output. It is not a void method. This method, max, receives 2 input parameters and it sends me 1 value back. And then here again is print line, and just to remind you, this is a concatenated string. It's still 1 parameter that's sent to print line. The 1 parameter is a string. So just another, it helps sometimes to look at all these, especially when you're starting to write the methods yourself. So this is really the new part, right? I have a method header. I have these pieces to it. This is the output from the method. This is what I'm passing to it. It's going to do some stuff, maybe return, maybe not. But the call shouldn't look too different to you, other than the fact that there's nothing in front of it. There's no math dot, there's no system dot. Well, the truth is, when you're calling a method and it's already in the class you're in, you can just call it by name. So it's gonna look in this class for this method. And if it doesn't find it, if I had named it wrong, it's gonna say, I don't know where that thing is. I can't find that, and see it's pointing right to the square. But if you really wanted to, you could, I think you can do this, let's try it. You could give the class name to execute that method. So maybe that looks more like math.max, math.something, right? This is not usually the syntax we use, but it's just to point out to you that it's still a method call. Even though these had all this extra stuff on it, this is really the important piece. It's the method call. This is just how I find that method. Here's the method. This is how I find it. I find it in the system class, and it also has another parameter on it. Whereas here, here, I don't need you to tell me where to find it. I'll look in this class for it, and I'll find it right here, and I'll use it. So you definitely want to be sure to tinker with some methods. Slow down and start thinking about what the input to the method is, what the process, and what the output. And this return statement is powerful. I leave once I hit a return statement from the method. So you need to be careful where you put it, because if there are lines after it, they won't get executed. So in subsequent videos, we will keep talking about methods throughout the year, but keep practicing with them and try to write some your own. And just to show you that this is returning a value, right? On my original programs where I was printing things, this is returning nothing. It's a void method. You can return with a semicolon. So it's not going to return a value, but it's just saying go back. So the thing is, if it hits the sending brace, it goes back on its own. But there are times where this comes in handy. And so you don't want to forget that return is valid for any method. It's just that with a void method, I can't put anything here. I can't say return X because it's a void method, and it will tell me that. So on void methods, I return, but I return nothing. If I have a type of thing that I'm returning, then I need to make sure this type matches this type. All right, happy Tinker Time coding. See you next time.